Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Africam show. It's me, Trishala, by the way, as usual, and there we go. Very briefly, we began our time together at Katmai in Baluli with some lovely elephants, but hopefully we'll be able to move back there in a moment. Across the country, the weather has been pretty dreary, unfortunately. At least here we can see a little bit of clear skies in the distance and a nice terrapin on this log. And for me, that's fantastic because I'm sitting here in Cape Town at the moment where the weather is just awful. And it's been pretty rainy, pretty cloudy all over the place. And here at King's Camp, you can see that it's also really cloudy, but at least there's a few patches of blue. I just hope that those patches of blue come down to the Western Cape so that I can be happy again. But you know what does make me happy? Spending this time with all of you. So we have 45 minutes together, and that's 45 minutes where we can go across all the different cameras that we have, mostly here in South Africa, but also up in Kenya, the Eldonyo camera. We can visit all of the different cameras, and I can answer any questions that you may have. And of course, we are live and interactive, which means you can send me questions and comments. Let me know how you're enjoying the show, how you're enjoying your day. Maybe you want to tell me how great your weather is, or maybe you don't actually. I'll just feel even more terrible about it. It's such a strange thing. I've heard of seasonal disorder in other countries, particularly countries where there's a very distinct summer and winter, or even an autumn and spring. But in South Africa, we don't have such a distinction. Very often in winter, temperatures are above 20 degrees Celsius. And so I didn't really think it's a thing. And then I moved to Cape Town, where there's definitely a distinct winter. And I find after about 5 days of dreary weather, I crave sunlight and blue skies. Oh, yay, we have some hellos coming through. Very nice. Bridget McKinney says, hi, Trishala. Oh, you've got some hot tea and seltzer water. Very nice. Good combination. April Owl is also around. April Owl says, good morning, everyone from sunny Connecticut, sitting with your cherry iced tea, and you can't wait for the show. Well, I also couldn't wait for the show. It was a really busy day for me today, and well, even yesterday. And even though, this is also work for me, but at the same time, it's 45 minutes where I have to give myself the space and time to enjoy nature, albeit virtually. And it is such a blessing. It's such a wonderful thing to be able to do. All right, we're back at Cat Eye. Yes. So glad we're able to come back here because we can watch the elephants and most importantly, listen to them. One of my favorite things to do. More hellos have rolled in. Jean Gale says, good morning from Seattle. You're here with your coffee and the smaller dog sound asleep on your lap. Oh, that sounds like a dream. Mindy Tillapau, you say you're off work today. Yay! But you still made sure you got your Africam / Trishala fix. Thank you, Mindy. Timber Grace says, good morning from finally sunny Minneapolis. It's a weather roller coaster over here. I'm sure it is. And at least it's sunny where you are, Timber Grace. At least it's sunny. We're getting there. I think tomorrow will be nice and sunny here as well. Jan Powers says, hi all, chai tea latte being made. That's a good choice, Jan. You say, ready for all the interesting things today. So am I. So what I was saying a little bit earlier, I got sidetracked by all the tasty things you were reporting on, is even though it was a busy day and and a busy yesterday, and it's going to be a busy week, but having this 45 minutes where I know I can just spend time in nature and with all of you in the Africam community is a really, really, really precious thing, especially when you're busy with things that maybe don't really revolve around wildlife. I'm lucky that the majority of the things I get busy with revolve around wildlife, but this week hasn't quite been that. And now I really feel this 45 minutes of spending time in the bush. Oh, we're a little bit stuck. There we go. Back. And then I also mentioned to you that the weather has been pretty awful. And not that, I mean, we can talk about the way weather affects the behaviors of animals. But when we were starting off and doing checks and looking at the cameras, Kirst said to me that the cameras are really quiet. And I thought to myself, well, I don't blame the animals because I've basically been sitting at home because the weather's been awful. Um, so but we did manage to see elephants at Katmai, and now we're up here at Aldonyo, and we've got another beautiful elephant bull coming down to have a drink. So I was preparing for a quiet Africam show with all of you today, but it seems like all the animals are out in full force. And my goodness, how is that Mount Kilimanjaro in the background? This has to be one of my favorite views on the cameras. Oh, a lot more hellos coming through. Amberco says, Happy Tuesday. Thank you to all at Explore and Africam that bring us these fabulous shows. Very appreciated. Coffee and donut here this morning. Oh, goodness. I really need to step up my game. Kauru, you say, Hi, Trishala. Hi, Kauru. Thank you for jumping on board. Casper's Third Ghost says, hello from Milwaukee. Tea today? Good choice. I've just got some water. It's been such a busy day, guys. I haven't even got a chance to have something more interesting than water and a cup of coffee in the morning. I'm a one coffee a day kind of gal. Can't really drink more than that. Bob from Kalamazoo! Bob, where have you been hiding? I feel like I haven't heard your name as often as I would like to. But you say, Happy Tuesday, Trishala. Happy Tuesday to you too, Bob. Silly Possum is here again with Benji. Hi, Silly Possum and Benji. Mary Momo says, Good morning, Trish and friends from a dark and rainy Hot Springs, Arkansas. I feel that. You got... Oh, Mary Momo. I want to hear all about it. I'm very jealous. Mary Momo has reminded me of the great solar event. Mary Momo has gotten to witness or had witnessed the majesty of the solar eclipse in the path of totality without clouds. Oh, that is stunning. Absolutely stunning. I wish. Here in the Southern Hemisphere, it really doesn't happen very often. Particularly to see it in totality. We have had, there are very many lunar eclipses, but when it comes to solar eclipses, they are a little more difficult to spot here in the Southern Hemisphere. The last time I can remember witnessing a solar eclipse must have been in the 90s, early 90s. I was in primary school. Yeah, and I remember everyone getting very excited. And even then, it was a partial eclipse, not even total solar eclipse. Amazing. I'm so happy for all of you in North America, particularly, who got to witness that. That is so special. And what I love about witnessing those kinds of events that you really have zero influence on, those things are happening at a scale that is really unimaginable. And it just happens. You can't adjust it, you can't change it, you can't try to manipulate it in any way. It just is. And it reminds you of life and sometimes puts other things into perspective. And that's a similar feeling I get when I watch animals out in the bush, particularly big elephant bulls like this. There's a certain time or a certain space, I should say, between when you can feel in control of a sighting with elephants and feel totally comfortable. And then sometimes you get cheeky elephant bulls that don't care much for your personal space. And we assume that animals do need a lot of personal space, and that is the best approach to have when you're out in the wilderness. But sometimes they can get extra curious. And I've had, the majority of the time, I've had a very close sighting with an elephant has been with elephant bulls. And they'll come right up to the vehicle sometimes, right up within a meter of me. And it's in those moments, in that space, when you realize there is not a single thing you can do. And when I say comes into the space, I mean totally relaxed, not showing aggression in any way, nothing else but curiosity. It's those moments when you realize no matter how experienced you are as a guide, no matter what hopeful sixth sense you have about animals, the situation is in complete control of that elephant. You can't start up and leave, you'll just frighten it before, it coming towards your vehicle in the first place and feeling relaxed means that it perceived you as a non-threat. You wouldn't want to make yourself then appear to be a threat and start up and suddenly drive away, especially if it's within 1 meter of you. And in that moment, you are at the total mercy of that elephant. That's another way to put life into perspective. This huge animal has all the control. And though at first it may seem frightening, at some point you just accept it. And it's a beautiful thing. I find elephants so impressive. And like the sheer scale of them. It's unbelievable. Of course, it's the largest land mammal. And I think there's nothing wrong with comparing the magnitude of an elephant to a total solar eclipse. Yes. Mr. H, UAE 87, you say today we have apple cake because you're starting Eid in your country and end of Ramadan. Oh, happy Eid, or Eid Mubarak, I should say. I hope that it goes very well and that you have a wonderful time with your family and friends. Leela May 6 Ohio, you say it's Trunk Out Tuesday. Woo! Trunk Out Tuesday, indeed. How relaxed does this elephant bull look? I really romanticized this notion of being with elephants and having sightings with elephants. But it must be said that I'm speaking of sightings where both the elephant and the guide, or me, are relaxed, and everyone there's no indication of aggression or agitation at all. But sometimes, as we saw on this camera previously, it was a couple of weeks back now, when the elephant bull had, I suppose, just tried to nudge the giraffe out of the way, but inevitably ended up gutting it with its tusk. And though there were a few indications, it happened so quickly. And at the beginning, the elephant seemed relaxed as it was walking towards the water hole, but it didn't want to share the water hole. But how many times have we seen that and it didn't end in a fatality? So like with all things, we must take care, we must give distance and respect. And always I suppose, prepare for the unexpected, particularly in the wild. Mary Momo is just telling us how she felt. You say it was truly surreal. She's talking about the eclipse. You had never seen anything like it. Now you understand the hype preceding this event. It really, really, really is very special. I wonder, Mary Momo, if you noticed any changes in the behaviors of the animals around you. Maybe simple things, maybe pigeons or other birds that you could, squirrels perhaps. Did you notice any changes? Now, solar eclipses, and particularly total solar eclipses, don't come around often. And when the transit, or when the sun is completely blocked, we essentially have darkness. And a lot of the time, animals will react to it. Now, I haven't witnessed it on my own. Like I said, the last time I experienced a partial solar eclipse was in the 90s. And little Trishala was not really paying attention to the animals around her. I was just super excited to have been wearing those cool glasses. I felt so cool. But I have been reading a lot about what had happened, or what animals do during a total solar eclipse, where it basically becomes night for a few seconds. And many animals, and particularly this has been seen in birds, many of them will fly off and almost engage in roosting behavior. They'll fly off, perch in trees, and then the sun comes out again and they resume activities. The other thing that we see is, again, when I say we, I mean scientists and observers, not me, unfortunately. But the other thing that has been noticed is that some animals will flee. I think it was seen with giraffes, that they will flee, and it kind of makes sense. It's unexpected. If you were a giraffe out in the open, and by the time night falls, you're usually in the thickets, but suddenly night is upon you and you're no longer in the thickets, you're out in the open, you would run. You would try to find cover. I imagine that it would be really disorienting. But luckily, it's kind of just a blip, It happens quickly. Before you know it, it's over. And all the animals that exist today obviously did perfectly fine with the solar eclipses that had passed. Otherwise, they wouldn't exist today. Oh my goodness! What a shot! That's a total elephant eclipse of Kilimanjaro right there. Absolutely stunning. Zygote, you say hi. Hi, Zygote. Thanks for jumping on. We thought, where's Zygote at the beginning? But thank goodness you're here. Oh, April, you say you saw some bats in the air at the time of the eclipse. That is really, really interesting and something I had not thought about. And it also makes sense, because animals are not paying attention to, we understand time and day and night, and with animals this is not necessarily, it's not necessarily categorized. All they need to know is there light, is there not light? Because day and night doesn't really mean too much to them. Day and night just means light and dark. And so if you're a bat and you start to see, UV radiation's going down, light's going down, all the sensory receptors associated with light is picking up low light conditions, that must mean I need to come out of my roosting position and out into the air. And then suddenly you get that message because all your instruments are telling you the light is low. And light is low is the trigger for bats to start to move. So that's really interesting, and it makes total sense, April Owl. Legomorphophobic, you say, hi everyone. Hi, I haven't heard your name in a while. Thanks for coming on board. We've missed you. Leela May 6 Ohio, you'd like to know, are bull elephants solitary? They are most of the time. So while elephant herds are made up of females and their offspring, and there could be several generations of females, only the females stay in the herd. Once the male calves start to mature, from about 10, 11 years old to about, if they're lucky, they might be able to stay in the herd till they're about 14. Around that time, they get pushed out. And then they will join little bachelor herds. Maybe they'll join up with other young males that also got pushed out of their natal herd. And then very soon, they start to just go on their own. But all the elephants in an area, in a particular home range, they know each other. So they may not be hanging out together, but they'll still know each other. And you'll even find big adult bulls in groups with other males, but those are not permanent groups. Those bachelor herds are just fleeting. At the end of the day, tongue-tied. At the end of the day, they're all in competition with each other, competition for mating rights. So they are lone bulls. They have friends too. You'll find that there's some elephant bulls that particularly hang out with another specific elephant bull, while they may not really associate with other bulls that come along. I thought we were going to hedge here. So, one of the zoomies, we're at Stony Point, by the way. We're at Stony Point, which is not very far from me, where I'm sitting right now. It's in Betty's Bay here in the Western Cape, where we see our penguins. And we are looking at this crevice because one of the zoomies said there's something creepy in this crevice. But I'm just going to turn my screen brightness up. Sorry if I'm shuffling, everyone. It's just very cold. And my puffer jacket is the only one that's making me feel warm enough at this moment. Now, what I can see are these little kind of sea lice. But I wonder if there's something else that's actually living in the crevice. Okay, Kirst says to me they're not lice. What are they? Oh, you mean it's not the lice. You say that... Oh, goodness me. Can you see what I see? Sorry, I just got very confused there for a moment. Because Kez told me that there was something creepy here, and the creepiest thing I saw, or creepy crawly, was the first thing that went in my head, and I thought, sea lice? Yeah, but now in the actual crevice, you can see some movement, or I did see some movement in a bit. It looked like a girdled lizard, and the girdled lizards here are very, very, very black. So unless it pops out its head, and I wonder if it would, I wonder if it would maybe go for some of these lice. That would be really interesting. Ooh, goodness me, I'm almost got a bit of the shivers. Imagine it lurking in the darkness there. and potential prey walking past. They're really, really, really dark, these black-girdled lizards, and quite common around Cape Town. Now, if you can imagine being black, like, I mean, so black, you've seen them here before. It's really good at helping you capture sunlight energy, capturing heat. Now, I'm surprised. I mean, might not be the favorite food item on their list. There we go. Can you see that movement? It's in the darkness. Yeah, sea lice might not be the favorite thing on the menu, but with so many walking past, I would think that it would at least take the opportunity. It's sliding down. Are you gonna poke out? No, I think that if it does poke out, it's not going to spend a lot of time out. Oh, it's moving. There's no sun at the moment. So it might just be better for it to hunker down, stay warm that way. Very interesting. It looks as if it's right in the, as we are looking at this crevice, if it's a triangle, it's on the bottom right, bottom left corner now. But I'm wondering if it's going to come out, or at least it moved in that direction, or it's just getting further in. Oh my goodness, now I'm not sure if I was actually just seeing one of the lice or if I was actually seeing the girdled lizard. It is there, right, Kirst? You saw some movement. I saw some movement too. All right, enough of staring into the dark crevice. We're back at King's Camp, where it looks a little brighter, which is lovely. We were thinking, of course, or we were chatting about the eclipse before, and animal behavior and the eclipse before we went to solve the mystery of the crevice, the creepy crevice at Stony Point. And Legomorphophobic says that they remember a total eclipse in Germany many years ago, and the birds stopped singing. Oh, I'd never thought about that. That is cool. And again, it makes sense. I wonder if any nocturnal birds started to call. That would be something interesting, right? A rolling trouble, you've rolled in and you have an excellent suggestion. You say that when Mike comes on the show again on Thursday, on the Wild Moments show, Mike Fitz, I should ask Mike about the eclipse. Oh, I'm sure you'll have so many amazing things to say. That is an excellent, excellent suggestion. April All is jumping on it too. She says Mike will have a lot to say with his front row seat, I'm sure. I'm sure. We had a little trouble with the Stony Point camera before, but it seems everything seems fine. So how about we head back? Bridget McKinney says that she could see shiny black when it was zoomed in. I think that's what I could see too, in that little crevice. Hopefully we will be able to go back. Be nice if we could see some of our penguin friends as well. Anyway, we'll head through. Ah, thank you. Ah, there we go. You can have a look at what I'm suffering with at the moment. Very, very cloudy. I mean, it even looks cold. Very few animals out and about. I see some cormorants there on the left, but I would like to see our penguin friends. I wonder what they'll be doing. Now, this kind of weather is really not going to disrupt a penguin's day at all, even though it is, cold and rainy. It's not really extreme, so it won't disrupt a penguin's day at all. They will go out and fish as usual, go out hunting. The only thing that may cause a disruption, I suppose going back to the solar eclipse as well, is if the light gets too low, then they will, it would be no point to hunt, because their primary sense that they use when hunting is their eyesight. And now we're heading back to our crevice. I wonder if you can hear the rain. I'm finding it very interesting that the girdled lizard is not taking any of these little louse. But now, the more I think about it, it kind of makes sense. We know that digestion uses a lot of energy. And if you are a black girdled lizard that relies so much on external input of heat from the sun, that your entire body is black to collect as much of that sunlight and heat as possible, then on a day like this, when it's not available, you'd probably try your hardest to not use up energy. So I guess it does make sense that it's just staying put. Looks like most of the penguins are hiding too. Now there's usually three places you'll find penguins here at Stony Point. They'll either be in the ocean. If you're lucky enough, you'll see them getting ready to go out to sea, or you'll see them coming back from sea. You'll see them on the beach, which is where they sun themselves and dry themselves, or you'll see them up in their little burrows. So those are the three places: in the sea, on the beach, in the burrows. So just because we didn't see them right now doesn't mean they're all hunking down in their burrow. They could all be out, or most of them could be out at sea. But being on the beach doesn't make sense, because the only reason that they hang out at the beach is because either they want to go out to sea, or they've just returned from sea, or they're sunning themselves. And at this point, they can't really do much of that. But luckily, we have a whole lot of cormorants. I see one white-breasted cormorant. No, two white-breasted cormorants. They're easy to spot with that large white breast. Two of them that I see there. The typical one we get here is the Cape cormorant, but we might also see a crowned cormorant. If you're lucky, you might see a bank cormorant. I haven't seen one of those yet, but they look so sleek. They're pretty much all black. But here at Stony Point, I've seen Cape, crowned, and white-breasted cormorant. No sun to dry off those feathers today. So they're going to have to keep swinging their wings out, try and get as much of that water off of them as possible. I think I'm just being biased. I was about to say they all look pretty upset with the weather, but I'm projecting 100%. When we think about, oh, bless you there. One of them just pooped in the ocean for us. So if you've ever seen a cormorant hunt, they're very good at diving into the water, catching fish. The first time that I ever saw a cormorant is a very interesting thing, actually. I was dissecting a shark, and it happened to be during the sardine run, which is a big natural event that takes place on the east coast of South Africa once a year around June, July. And it's a whole lot of sardines move along the coast as they try to reach breeding grounds. And what ensues, the chaos that ensues, is crazy. You get dolphins, whales, sharks of all sorts, cormorants, gannets, all concentrated on the east coast and the Indian Ocean. And it's crazy. There's so much activity, so much. If you do manage to get on a goat, get on a goat, don't get on a goat, get on a boat. If you do manage to get on a boat and during the sardine run and go out, and if you see a ball, so when fish want to, especially schooling fish, when they want to defend themselves against potential threats, they'll go into a tight ball and then move in synchrony, and that allows them to kind of confuse their predators. When you see one of those balls, just sit tight, because dolphins are going to come through, sharks are going to come through, cormorants, gannets, they're all going to be there. So, as I was saying, the first time I saw a cormorant, it was in the stomach contents of a shark. Because if you can imagine, gannets and cormorants are striking down into the water. Sharks are kind of like indiscriminately just chomping and biting. One or two birds get stuck in there too. It really is something. It's incredible. I mean, it's really a wonder of the natural world. I would liken it to the wildebeest migration in the Mara. Oh, did you guys see that? On the left third of the screen, just above the rocks, yeah, it's a seal. Haha. This is so cool. It's as if it's taunting the cormorants. It just tried to bite the one. Oh, it's got the cormorant. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. First it bit the cormorant just as it popped out. Oh! Okay, Trishala needs to calm down. I'm now shouting into the mic. First it bit the cormorant as it flew, and that injured it enough, and now it's continuing to grab, so the cormorant's gonna float for a little bit of time. Now they do have preening glands and they do have preening oil, even though they are diving birds, so that is going to help it to be buoyant, and that's why it's going to float for some time. And this is typical behavior for the seal. This is something I see all the time when a seal has an octopus. I've never seen it with a seal and a cormorant, ever. So the seal's going to continue to go for the cormorant and basically thrash it, flip it up, until eventually it will be broken into sufficient pieces for the seal to just swallow. It's still floating there. It's still trying to flick it. Now it's doing something very similar to what crocodiles do. All predators or all carnivores, they cannot chew. They have to break or bite off chunks and swallow, or they've got to break their prey up, especially if it's a small piece of prey, a small animal. They've got to break it up so they can actually swallow it in one go. Wow, that was unexpected and unbelievable. Grumpy old man, you say live kill indeed. And so sneaky. There we go, there we go. It just swallowed a piece. You saw its mouth go. It looks as if it's chewing, but it can't actually chew. It's just maneuvering parts of the cormorant down its throat. Bridget McKinney, you say crazy. Absolutely crazy. Goodness me. Whew, that was something. Kaoru, you say seals eat birds? Yes, they do. Seals are carnivores. And so if an opportunity comes along, of which there are many on the banks here at Stony Point, the seal is going to take it. Now, most of the time, like I said, when I see seals with a kill, it's usually a marine animal. It's continuing to break up that cormorant, trying to get off as many chunks as possible. Now the seal's got to do this quickly, because the more it thrashes around, and if you were observant just towards the beginning of this whole thing, you may have also seen the blood in the water. All of that, the smells, the movements, the sounds, those are going to attract other predators, just like out in the bush. So this seal's got to be quick. It's got to finish up quickly before other seals come in, before potentially little sharks could come in as well. The bigger sharks will probably not make their way all the way, probably not make their way in to the actual bay because of all the kelp. But there are smaller predators that's got to be aware of, and smaller sharks that might want to come and have a bit of that chicken dinner. My goodness, what a way to end our time together, everybody. I'm glad we came back to the Stony Point camera to have a look at the creepy crevice. wow, absolutely amazing. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for your questions and for your comments. Keep your eye on the camera. You never know if the moment you are watching, something crazy can happen, like it did right now. So thanks, everybody. I'll see you on Thursday. Bye for now.